All right, here we go again. Buckle up. So, just because there's a political rift doesn't mean there has to be the animosity that we're seeing from these state and local law enforcement leaders. Again, it's understood that they're somewhat political positions. I mean, it's just the nature of the world. Uh, but you know, the chief of police is generally there to advise the mayor, even if the mayor wants to fire him. I mean, it's just or her. You know, it's well, that's the way to handle it. You don't. In other words, if you have a political rift, if you have opposing political views for whatever reason, you, I believe quite possibly a Supreme Court could find that a city, and a state can't deny that service to HSI because, or not HSI, to ICE because they provide it to other entities. The sticking point is that it's somehow still civil law. I believe it's the same thing as Roe versus Wade. I said to, you know, whoever the world in Roe versus Wade, it was the decision kind of scumbagged the Democratic Party. Again, I never had, I didn't. We were confronted with the choice of. It wasn't even a choice of abortion. People were pressuring us, family members, and my ex-wife and I said no. And essentially, is you don't have a lot of money. You're a military sergeant. You're not making all that much money. You already have one daughter. But you have bills. And I said, if we starve, we'll starve together. That's just the way it's going to be. And of course, we didn't starve. Shortly thereafter, it was my second daughter, and shortly thereafter, I got out. And I became it took a little while, but I became a correctional officer and a deputy U.S. Marshal. But again, being settled law, case law, like it'll never change. The Democrats were in power, and they could have legislated it. So again, being honest is best policy. So when we look at as far as civil law and immigration, that's like payback for Roe versus Wade, because the Republicans could have made it criminal law, and which they should. Again, at this point, based upon how we view things and how things work and how it's working out, it should be criminal. It's the only way to fix it. But again, you don't have to go to prison for it. That's what you do is the graduated system. If you just cross the border, deportation in 90 days or something, and then you could suspend the 90 days and just deport. But it's criminal law. Now, if you make it a misdemeanor, they'll probably say, well, it's a misdemeanor, not a felony. So I don't know. Maybe you want to make it a felony and give it a year. Maybe the only way to do it. So again, if you see how the chief reacted to it, he doesn't give play. He doesn't give play for the rhetoric and the propaganda. And again, he's not violating the law. Other chiefs have violated the law in the way that they spoke out against ICE operations and in what they've done to interfere with ICE operations. Again, if you're a leader, you're influencing a lot of people. There's no doubt that the leaders in Minnesota are causing that street action. And that street action is not lawful at all. The only thing is they know it's almost impossible to prosecute in their community because they're liars. You'll never get a jury of people to tell you the truth in Minneapolis. I guarantee it. So when you voir dire them, when you ask them, can you sit on a jury and accept, that ICE is law, and they'll lie to you. They'll lie to you in a second. In fact, if you look back at the cases for Bovino, I guarantee the jury lied to get on the jury, unless you didn't ask the right questions. Unless the U.S. government didn't ask the right questions, jurors on the Bovino jury for the hit on him, I guarantee they lied to get on the jury. That's the kind of people. They lie every day. Lie every day in the news, lie every day on a video, lie every day in their chat rooms, lie every day on their messaging, lie every day on the phone calls. ICE has them. They know they're liars. So if it ever came to light that they lied to get on that jury, you can recharge that case most likely, but I think that person's going to be deported at some point. So again, they attack you, and then when you charge them, you're vindictive because of their stance. It's like, it's lunacy. So again, that chief, I guess he just got appointed recently or something. Definitely shows promise. Well, because he knows how to carry himself. He knows how to, in other words, his job is to advise the mayor on what the law enforcement is supposed to do. Now, the mayor can have opposing views, but again, there's limitations in that. Like we see the sheriff in Philadelphia with Krasner. That should never say that kind of thing. Well, it's encouraging people, and she knows it. They're encouraging people to commit crimes. That's what the Minneapolis police chief does. That's what the governor of Minnesota does. That's what the mayor of Minneapolis does. He encourages people to commit crimes. They're not saving anybody. They're making it more difficult. ICE is not going away. Before this intensive that began in all the cities, ICE had nobody working for them. Well, I'm just telling you, you can pull the task force out, and it doesn't mean anything. They work for the home office, I guess you could say, the local resident office. So the task force numbers that they had there are now there permanently. I mean, not the the thousands or whatever it said there. Well, they're not going anywhere. They don't have as many exigent cases, and they have 10 times as many people to do what they did before. And a lot of them, I think, are former police officers. That's why NYPD should be careful on what they're doing around prosecuting their officers and not standing up for their officers, because you're going to have a recruitment problem if that guy that threw the cooler actually goes to jail. I already noticed that your officers are so freaking young. You have nobody with any knowledge and experience that's ever going to ask to work for you. Your latest NYPD class, I mean, they look like they're straight out of 11th grade. They didn't even finish 12th. You had to go down to 11th grade to get them. Now, that cooler is not prosecutable. He can't foresee that that's going to happen. In fact, I know you're not required to wear a helmet over 18 years old. But again, anybody not wearing a helmet on a moped scooter, you're asking for trouble. And then to do that on the moped scooter without a helmet? I mean, what do you think is going to happen if he ran into the officers? He's still going to go off the bike, but the officers could get hurt. So again, this is lunacy to charge that officer. He didn't pull his gun out and shoot him, which he would have been right to do. Well, the court case that I showed him, the Graham versus Connor or something like that, the appellate court will agree with that one. I'm almost positive. Well, because he can't reasonably foresee that this guy's going to, it's kind of like the mousetrap game where you hit this and you hit that. And it just was like playing pool off the left. He wasn't planning it. There was no meditation to harm that person. He's a police officer. He's doing something. You can't, what you're doing is saying he's just an average person walking down the street and threw his cooler at somebody on a bike that he thought might run him over. So the officer right away is out there for a official duty. So the officer is protected from making mistakes. If he could take it back, he would, but he can't because that was the only thing he could do at that moment. He didn't. I think the overwhelming proof is he didn't pull his gun out. Officers, as far as accidentally killing, so that's bullshit. It's a bullshit you Democrats made out of thin air years ago. Because you got people that won't even convict people of felonies, you just go with it. But look at your police department, 17-year-olds. Nobody that's 21 or older is going to join an NYPD unless they're stupid. Let's get on with the prayer. I'll be back in a second.